Well, that day sucked. It's time to bounce back. Let's talk some basketball. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and yesterday absolutely sucked. It just flat out is. I take the 1 in 5 day right on the chin. You know, sports betting just has a way of humbling you when things are going well. We've had a really good season up to today, but Tuesday was just not the day. So I know it was a rough day for a lot of handicappers out there, but that just means we got to bounce back. And that's why, if you are new to sports betting, these days will happen and they will happen again because that's just how it is. It is a very tough thing to do. So, this is why bankroll management is key. I always recommend 1 to 2% of your bankroll on the 1 unit bets because one bad day should never cripple you. So, just a good reminder for myself and everyone out there as well. But I'm ready to bounce back. That just was brutal. But we got a small 6-game slate today, and I got 2 dad jokes. Let's get right into it. Here we go. And these are pretty bad. I'm just gonna be honest here. What do you call a man with no shins? Tony. What do you call a fish with no eyes? Fish. I can't even say that with a straight face. Anyways, in this video, we're going to recap yesterday, and it was ugly. And then we're going to talk defenses versus the small forward position, the good and the bad matchups, because it's Wednesday. And also because it's Wednesday, we are going to talk the G's of threes, the hot shooters from deep, and the defenses that give up the highest 3-point percentage. And then we'll finish it with the best bets and the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Come join this awesome community. Our Discord is free. We got a ton of people in there that are really smart, and we talk sports every single day, all through the night. So let's get started, and that means it's recap time. All right, here it is. It is terrible, and we're going to talk about it. Jaden Ivey over 23.5 PRAs. He just wasn't involved. It became a blowout, but he didn't shoot the ball well. I think 3 for 9, 3 for 10. I don't know what it ended up being, but not really involved and just didn't do a lot. The Pistons were horrendous today. They absolutely got blown out by the Bucks. Just one of those games. And Tyrese Halliburton, I told you, he's averaging 20 PAs on the road, shooting 30%. He went absolutely bonkers. I mean, he was making absolutely everything. My first original thought I was going to do was under 9.5 assists. It would have cashed. Unfortunately, I did the PAs, and this is what happens. We get absolutely crushed on this one. The Pacers still lost, but he went nuts. PJ Washington under 15.5 points plus assists. He ended up scoring 15, but he also had 6 dimes. I mean, he turned into prime Steve Nash. It was insane. He was on pace for like 10 dimes at one point. But either way, it was a bad read. He scored 15. He got hit some threes. You know, any under I took, they made shots. Any over I took seemed to miss them. Tim Hardaway Jr., the lonely winner, 3-0 in his last 3 games. This bet is an absolute machine. Maybe I should just bet 2 units on this every time. It is wild. He is incapable of getting a steal or a block. I think it's under in like 17 of 20 games now. Chris Paul over 9.5 points. He was terrible. 1 of 9, I believe, shooting. I could be wrong on that. Something around 1 of 9. I mean, this is just one of those overs that he decided to go cold today. He ended with 2 points. It was a terrible read. He absolutely sucked. Nikola Jokic over 12.5 rebounds. Just couldn't get it going from the get-go. He ended with 10 rebounds. But Aaron Gordon took a lot of rebounds, and the Warriors had some moments where they just were not missing a lot, and he just wasn't crashing his last like he usually does, and he ended short. It just is what it is. Just a 1 in 5 day. You just have to take it. 0-2, or sorry, 1-2 on the under. So now 27-12 on the season. That's under player props. And then there's the breakdown. Still, even after losing a little over 5 units today, we are 84-63, up 9.45 units. So it's time to dig out of this Tuesday hole this week now with some good bets. But before we get into all that, let's talk this small forward position. All right, we start with the defenses giving up the most points to the small forward position. Blazers up there at 26, Pelicans, Nuggets, and the Hawks are playing today. So if it's highlighted in green, the team or the player, they are playing. They don't necessarily have a top 10 matchup, but they are playing. We do have one here, the Lakers facing Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat. Butler obviously on and off hurt, hasn't been the same this year, but still averaging 19 points per game. Lakers giving up 23 to the small forward position. Jaylen Brown is also playing 25 points per game. Again, small forward is that position I say every single week. It's interchangeable. Some of these guys play shooting guard, sometimes power forward. You know, the wing type players nowadays are a little different. So anyways, let's take a screenshot and hopefully helps you get some winners. And by the way, we had some winners yesterday on some shooting guard matchups. So make sure to pay attention to these because some of these can get some good winners. I should have probably called some of those as well. But anyways, that's the points. Let's go to rebounds now. We got one matchup. The Pistons facing Jaylen Brown, 6.4 rebounds per game for Jaylen. Pistons 8.8 rebounds given up. And then Blazers up there yet again giving up a ton. Bucks 8.8, and so on and so on. And then as you can see over there on the right, we got Matherin, Hawkes Jr., and Paul George playing. Hawkes Jr. plays some shooting guard. He's kind of all over the place, kind of Jimmy Butler type of player. But anyways, that's the small forward rebounds. Now let's check out the assists. And we have two matchups for you. The Pistons facing Jaylen Brown, yet again, 4.3 assists per game. And then we got the Lakers facing Jimmy Butler, yet again, 4.8 assists for Mr. Butler. Spurs, Jazz, Raptors, Nets, and Nuggets giving up the most assists to the small forward position. So hopefully these help get some winners today or throughout the week. Again, we do a new position every single day, starting with point guard on Monday all the way to centers on Friday. So now let's check out the tough small forward matchups if you like some unders. These are the 10 teams giving up the fewest points, the fewest rebounds, and the fewest assists to the small forward position. If it's in green, they are playing today just to kind of help you out. Magic giving up the fewest, that's 16 points per game. Lakers giving up the fewest rebounds, and then the Rockets 2.8. The Magic up there again at 3.3 assists to small forwards. Obviously, Magic, Rockets you see up here quite a bit because they are good defenses. So take a screenshot. Hopefully this can help you get some winners as well. And now it's time for the G's of threes. All right, here is page 1 of the G's of threes. If you're new to the channel, we do this every single Wednesday. You have to have 40 or more three-point attempts to make this list and be shooting 40% or better, just to kind of help you out with some hot shooters. If you like to bet three-pointers made, you like to bet points, things like that, it's last 8 games. Now, some of them have only played 7 or 6 games. You can see we put it on there just so you guys know exactly. And then on the right side are the defenses in the last 8 games, giving up the highest three-point percentage. So you can kind of use it for matchups and things like that. You got Pistons, Nets, Kings, Wizards, and Suns are the top 5, giving up the highest. With the Pistons and Nets being the only 2 teams giving up over 40% from deep. It has not been pretty for some of these defenses. Kings are up here, obviously, top 5 every single week, it seems like. So Brandon Miller, how about taking 100 threes in the last 8 games, shooting 42 for 100? You can do the math yourself, but that's 42%. Halliburton doesn't usually crush it on the road, but he did yesterday, and he has been shooting the ball well. All the way down, Zach LaVine, 45.5%, and so on and so on. And then down there, Jalen Brunson, 49.1%. Some of these numbers don't include Tuesday. I don't know how quick they update it, but I had to get this slides done and everything. So that's page 1. Take a screenshot. Hopefully this helps you get some winners. And then let's check out page 2. And who else would lead this, right? How about the big man, Vucevic, with the highest percentage with the 40 or more three-point attempts at 24 for 47, 51.1%, just edging out Cam Johnson of the Brooklyn Nets, who is questionable to play, so keep an eye on that. Well, a lot of these guys are, honestly. But other than that, some other guys shooting the ball well. Gary Trent Jr., okay, never mind. I did it again. Gary Trent Jr. is leading the way. 52.4%. So Vucevic is actually second. Trent Jr., 22 for 42. And then we go all the way down there to Quentin Grimes for the Mavericks, 20 for 40, shooting 50%. And some of these guys, obviously, only 7 games, 6 games, just to kind of help you out how many they're shooting by doing some math, how many they're taking per game and things like that, with, of course, the defenses on the right side. So that's what we got for the G's of threes. And now it's time for the best bets. All right, this first best bet takes us out to Philadelphia, where the 76ers are hosting the Orlando Magic. Magic minus 2.5 total, and this one is 205. That's right, 205, and that's my bet. It's a 1-unit play. Give me the over of 205 at minus 110 on Bet365. It was at 204 earlier. It is moving quick, so I would take this at 205.5, 206 still. This is straight from 1990s NBA, this line. It is absolutely crazy, which, by the way, I do miss 1990s basketball. But anytime you see this line nowadays, you just have to look into it because it's just very rare. So let's talk injuries real quick. Practically every rim protector in this game is out. Joel Embiid likely out. Andre Drummond out. Goga Batadze out. This hurts defenses, and it also could quicken up the game with less big men. We might see some more small ball lineups out of these teams. Now, the pace, obviously, with this total, you're not going to get 2 fast-paced teams. These are both bottom 10 in pace. But again, it's very well baked into the line. We have a total of almost 200 here, and I still think this number is too low. So the Magic, on the second night of a back-to-back, are they really going to be on their best defensive game when you play the second night of a back-to-back? Knicks just put up a ton of points against them. That was without Goga Batadze. They have gone over this 204.5 line in 57% of road games. Orlando games are 2-2 to the total over or under on 0 days rest. Magic had a rough shooting night yesterday. I think they do bounce back here, but they still scored 106 yesterday. So it's not like they're incapable of scoring. Now, the 76ers, the over is hit in 10 of the last 14 76ers games when they faced top 10 scoring defenses. Magic, top 10. Obviously, they're top 5, top 3 type of defense. But they've gone over this 204.5 line in 84% of games, 89% of home games, because obviously 204.5 is very low. They still have the offensive firepower even without Joel Embiid, McCain, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George. Any one of those or a couple of them could go absolutely off. And then Philly, I mean, usually when you have a 204.5 line, you're thinking two elite defenses. Philly's not. We know that. They're 17th in defensive rating. Not exactly the elite defense you look for if you have a total this low. 76ers averaging 109.2 points per game with George, Maxey, and McCain in the lineup. They have yet to play a home game with those three, which is kind of crazy. But overall, we're not asking for a lot of scoring. I'm not sitting here and saying this is going to be high flying and go crazy. We just need 206 is all we need. So I think we could just get one hot quarter maybe from both teams, and that could be enough to help get this over. So give me the over 205 as my first best bet. All right, this second one takes us out to LA where the Clippers host the Minnesota Timberwolves. T-Wolves minus 3.5. Total is 211.5. I was not planning on betting money lines or spreads or totals only right now, but there is barely any props out, and I like this one as well. Give me the Clippers on the money line at plus 130 on ESPN bet for a half unit. I don't need the points. I don't want the points. Let's just have them win the ball game. But I think the wrong team is favored here, honestly. I'm not understanding this line. I think the books are giving the T-Wolves too much credit for what they did last year still. Let's talk about this Timberwolves team right now. 10-10 this season. That's right. They are a 500 team. On the road, terrible. 3-6. They have notable losses on the road to the Raptors, the Blazers, not once but twice, the Spurs, and the Lakers. They've only won 2 road games all season by 4 or more points, and won by exactly 4 against the Kings. So if you like the Clippers on the plus 3.5, obviously I don't blame you as well. The only game they really won by margin on the road was against the Chicago Bulls. So I'm not sure why we're pricing them as a dominant team. Maybe it's the last game we just saw against the Lakers. That was a tough spot, and I just don't think one game really determines it. And LA is struggling right now, missing Austin Reeves and all that. So this offense for the T-Wolves still struggling. I mean, rebounding-wise, they're 26th, 17th offensive rating, 21st in assists. Their offense can be stagnant at times. Not a surprise when you had Julius Randle, the ball stopper himself, along with Anthony Edwards. So it's just not an offense that it just looks clunky. There's no rhythm to it. And then you look at the Clippers. And I'm not going to say the Clippers are some dominant offense either, but they've shown to be a pretty good team this year. They are shockingly 13-9 right now, and they are 8-4 at home. That's the big one. They lost 3 in a row at home in late October, early November. You take that away, they're 8-1. They've actually now won 9 straight games at home this year, or currently right now. They've been as good, if not better, on defense than the Timberwolves, which is the T-Wolves' strength. With Norman Powell back, this offense is much better. It's not just relying on James Harden. They're a top 10 rebounding team. I think Ivica Zubac can have a good game here, get some offensive rebounds as well. So overall, I mean, at worst, this is 2 teams that are equal. I love the plus 130 value here. I like the Clippers playing at home and the T-Wolves playing on the road where they struggle. If this line opened Clippers minus 2.5, I honestly don't think many people would be surprised. That's just my opinion. Obviously, there might be some people, but so you can take the points or you can take the money line. Give me the Fighting Steve Ballmers on the money line as my second best bet. And now there's not many props out. I mean, it is ugly right now. So I don't have any props for a best bet, but I do have a couple leans. So let's move on to those. All right, like I said, there is not many props out at all, so I'm just going to give you a couple leans, but here we go. The first one, Anthony Davis over 12.5 rebounds. There is 11.5 out there at like minus 145 right now. You could just go 12.5, especially if you can get some plus money. But the Heat are one of the worst teams in the entire NBA, allowing rebounds to centers. We've talked about it this year. Davis is averaging 11.5 per game on the season so far, averaging around 19 rebound chances per game. He had 17 rebounds in his last game last year against the Miami Heat, for whatever that's worth. But Lakers are desperate here. I think AD has a big game here, especially on the glass. So that's one lean. Again, these are not official bets. I know I've seen some comments. They get mad when these don't hit. I'm just trying to talk through some props. Really, some of the only props that are out right now. The second one, you guys know, right? The Pistons are playing. Tim Hardaway Jr. under a half a steal and block. It is now cashed in 17 of 20 games. Now, the problem with this is the books are finally onto it. They are, because right now, as of the night before, maybe it changes. I see the best odds at minus 165. So I'm giving this out as maybe part of a 2-leg parlay that you guys like to do or something like that. But I don't even look at the matchup because it really doesn't matter. Hardaway doesn't try to steal. It's if he gets a steal, it's going to be some lucky steal, and you move on. But again, 17 of 20. He's done it in the last 3 games that we've cashed him every single time. So just want to point that out that this is available out there, but you might have to use a juice reducer or something along those lines to get him down closer to even money. So those are my 2 leans because again, not many props out. But be sure to check the pinned comments, X, and Discord for more added plays on this 6-game Wednesday slate. But before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, there it is. 2 non-props. Shocking, I know, but over 205 Magic and 76ers -110 on Bet365 for 1 unit. And then the Clippers on the money line. I'm skipping the +3.5, just taking them to win it at +130. That is a half-unit play. More plays coming in the morning, more than likely props. No more spread or total picks, but thank you guys for listening. As always, let's bounce back. I know it was a rough day, but you know what? They happen. All we got to do is bounce back and limit those bad days. That's for sure. So thank you guys for watching again. Hope everyone has a great Wednesday, and we'll talk to you soon.